Welcome, everybody. How's it going? A beautiful Friday today. My name is Proof of Proofcast, and I'm joined here on the casting desk with Turk. Turk, how are we feeling today, my friend?
Oh, we're feeling great, Proof. I'm extremely excited here to get this thing going. We got a good matchup here between Barbara's Fanclub and Spectre Gaming and best of 3 series, so we're going to have to see. I'm thinking myself it's going to go the distance, so we might be in here for the long haul.
And you guessed it. You guessed it. We might be here for the long haul, or the loss of 2 important bans might be all she wrote for Barbara's Fanclub. Speaking of that, right, let's talk about the bans. We're right here, right? The Zach coming out already from Barbara's Fanclub. And Spectre Gaming decided to ban really massive champions here. Yon, Kindred, and Diana, all of whom are able to carry any given point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't surprise me too much to see the Kindred ban there. And the first pick, Jinx, also does not surprise me too much. The priority on Jinx has still remained. I think there's a couple options that the teams can choose to pick into it. One of them being Xayah herself. Yep. Xayah tends to be able to outrange her, especially if you go the lethality build, but that all comes down to preference. So we'll see how Spectre react with their R1 and R2. And I like the Jarvan pick a lot already. You have the immobile Jinx being picked by Barbara's Fanclub, Spectre Gaming responding with the Jarvan. So smart, good R1 from them.
Well, it's a decent R1, but let's talk about this hated B1 pick. It seems like we had a discussion before the stream as well, and we are just talking about this Jinx pick, and we were about to roast it again here. But it's been seeing a lot of play lately here, Turk. And what's the reason for that? Is it even that good, or do you think it's one of those overhyped carries?
Proof, if you can't beat him, you join him, right?
Oh, I see. All right. Well, you have that outlook, I guess. Do whatever it takes to win, right?
If you want my honest opinion, I think people are still really comfortable picking the Jinx. So I think it's just a pretty, honestly, I think it's just a comfort pick for a lot of people. It's not like it's bad either in your scales, and we've got a couple interesting picks.
Wait, Turk, who's this other champion beneath Rail? Is this a new champion that Riot released? Who is this champion? Yeah, somebody sent me the link when this champion was released. I have not seen it at all. But yeah, it's gonna be the Rel pick. The Thresh as the answer. You like that, right? You love playing Thresh. You love carrying with that.
Yeah, I think the Thresh is really good, especially when you pair it with Jarvan. And the response with the Rel. Now that'll be an interesting matchup and definitely an interesting pick here, because in my experience, the Rel tends to do not the best into the Thresh. So we'll see. Yeah. Obviously, it's another comfort pick. So if they're feeling themselves, by all means, go right ahead and let's see what can happen here. Then you also have the B3 Shyvana pick, the kind of hyper scaling, quick to farm, dragon prioritized jungler, and then the final pick, which is another spicy one, we got Vayne.
I mean, Vayne I think is just too good when you're just trying to even play on the red side. You don't really need to get that much AP on your team because you end up doing true damage either way. So it's a good pickup if you want to play for that late game, especially into the Jinx, right? Like, you know that later stages of the game, you're going to be maybe backed into a corner, but having Vayne, you're going to have a fair fight, at least in that later stage of the game. With that said, though, I kind of like where Spectre Gaming are going with this comp. They have good enough peel for the Vayne, but they also have like engage tools with the Jarvan, and of course Death Sentence could be used like the Leona Zenith Blade sometimes, right, from the Thresh. You could decide to like, okay, you know, I hit my Q, let me double down on this and let me, you know, make some plays happen. But we should see a lot of peel for this Vayne. It's a good sign. On the other side, though, Barbara's Fanclub, they have this drafted also kind of out of the box picks here, and I think Jinx being one of them is not out of the box, but Rel and Shyvana, I have not seen these champions. What do you think their goal here is with those picks?
Whenever you draft the Rel, usually you're drafting it for 2 reasons. One, you want to be tankier, and then 2, the hard engage. So that's definitely why they're drafting the Rel. The Shyvana themselves, if I had to take a guess, they're probably just going to look to play more around bot side, and then again prioritize those dragons because of Shyvana passive. So I think the Rel pick is just for team fight, and I think the Shyvana is probably a nice comfort pick, just one that they can look to kind of outscale the Jarvan. That's actually one more thing that I forgot to note. So Jarvan's a really good jungler for the first 2 clears, as long as he can get a kill or he can make something happen for his team. But if he doesn't make anything happen within the first 2 clears, that's when you kind of see Jarvan start to fall off, and Shyvana will definitely be taking his place there. So it's basically a time bomb for both teams. We'll see how both teams react to that individual little mini game of a matchup.
We got that Garen ban as well. Interesting stuff coming up. We were talking about Garen jungle earlier, and I guess that's not going to be a possibility here today, given the circumstances. Spectre Gaming can now opt to have their solo lanes. We have not seen their solo lanes yet, and I like this approach when teams are playing on the red side. They don't show their cards just till that last second. Obviously, they're going to have to blind one of the solo lanes here, and I think you need to blind a safe champion. I think Akali could be one of those. Kind of hard to punish her.
Great.
Yeah.
I think Akali's a great pick. It's also a flex pick too, so they really don't know where that Akali's going to go yet. That could be mid or top, so I think it's pretty smart. She doesn't have a terrible, like a ton of too bad of matchups, but even if they do end up picking something like what tends to do pretty well against Akali topside is like Gangplank. If they do draft the Gangplank, they don't have to send the Akali top, so they have options.
We'll see we like options. We like teams having options, especially on the red side. Spectre Gaming, you know, if they pull this off, then I feel like Barber's Fanclub are going to be a bit devastated because they got the Rocket Slinger here. You know, it's a hot commodity now in League of Legends. So if you are going to lose with this type of team comp, it's sure going to have to like spark up some questions as to how you could, you know, avoid that from happening. But is it going to be the cinch here, Turk? Do we like this pick? What do we think about this pick? Because I've seen it in pro play recently. I think I saw it in Academy the other day.
I'm not going to talk about it until it's locked in. Once it's locked in, then we can start to talk a bit.
Okay, yeah, they're going to bait us. They bait a switch. But the Camille should be okay here. I actually like the Camille because they need some of that focus on the utility that comes with the Camille in these team fights.
Yeah, the Camille is a really solid pick here. Again, they have the option just to send that Akali mid now if they want. The Karma will do pretty well against the Akali, but if they really want to counter, I mean, they obviously save counter pick for their solo lane, so they can opt in for a Jax maybe if they want. They could take that matchup head on and look to outscale the Camille and beat her in the split push. So they could do that. Again, they have options, so we'll see as the clock ticks down here what they do choose, and look at that, we're going to get a Gangplank ourselves. So that's interesting.
There it is. And for Barber's Fanclub, they kind of took a risk with the Camille, right? You know what they say, right, Turk? You got to speculate to accumulate. I don't know if you haven't heard, but you know, I don't know how this matchup is going to go. Obviously, you know much better about the Gangplank matchup, the Camille, but I don't think it should be all too bad. Obviously, Gangplank has the ulti that could impact other lanes much quicker and much more efficient than Camille can with her ultimate. Obviously, she needs to be there in person. So it provides Gangplank a bit more prowess and more control, especially earlier on in the game.
There's lots of ways that topside matchup can go. Ultimately, if that Gangplank is able to get out, even he's ahead. That's essentially how the matchup's going to go. The Camille can opt in for something like a Teleport Ignite if she wants to play more aggressive, if she just wants to play more respectful, kind of respect the Jarvan, which was drafted definitely for that early game ganking power. She can opt in to take the flash, so she too has options. We'll see exactly what they decide to do here. From Barbara's Fanclub, again, I expect them to be focusing more. Actually, it's tough to say. I would almost say mid-bot because of the Shyvana pick, but drafting the Camille makes me say, or at least tells me that they're definitely interested in ganking towards topside too. I mean, when Camille's 6, you can just press R. It makes things a heck of a lot easier. So.
Yeah, who would have thought pressing R makes things a lot easier, right? Especially with a broken ult like that. I think it's tailored for lockdown, right? And a lot of utility. The Hextech Ultimatum. Who should be the prio for that? Like, who should be receiving that on the other side? For Spectre Gaming, I think maybe the Vayne could be the target just to lock her down here, or just maybe anybody who's in the front line.
Vayne or Akali. Those are the two main ones for sure. The Thresh was drafted, and I really like the Thresh pick again with the Jarvans. The reason why I really like it too on the R2 is that if you leave it up, if you end up picking your ADC or something, Barbara's Fanclub could respond by picking the Thresh, and Thresh does really well into Jarvan. He basically neutralizes him, so they opt in to grab it, and they pick it because of its utility. So the peel that Thresh offers, the engage. Now, while it's not as much as say something like a Rel, just having a Thresh on your team, knowing that you could play around the lanterns, having the flay for the peel, the disengage, even just the engage itself. It's a really good pick here. So we'll have to see. Definitely Barbara's Fanclub wants to focus on killing that Vayne, and Spectre Gaming wants to be protecting that Vayne as much as possible. But from that team comp that I'm seeing from Spectre Gaming, I'm thinking they're more interested in going in. So we'll have to see if the Vayne is able to kind of peel for herself, and if she is, then I think she'll be okay. Well, we'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting game. It's a pretty sweet first draft here that we've got. So game 1 is definitely looking to be pretty spicy. And I said already that I think this this series is going to go the distance. So we'll have to see. But
Well,
but should
I'm
be
hearing already some predictions in your voice here, Turk. You are saying it's going to go the distance, and I think it's the opposite of my approach here, because I think whenever teams lose a couple of important bans, as we saw, Barbarous Fanclub did lose their bans, and I think the whole issue here with their team here is, we should touch up on that a little bit, is because it's important for the audience to know as well. It's scheduling, right? And sometimes it's coming back to bite them at the end here, and this is Exhibit A as to, you know, what's happening, because scheduling could be an issue for a lot of teams. If you're not here to play, you just got to prolong time and push it back and push it back. So a lot of the times, you know, teams shouldn't be having a problem with that. But here in this instance, Barber Fanclub lose 2 bans. So that's 2 bans really that you could have targeted on the other side, which I think is huge competitive edge over your opponents.
It absolutely is. There's no question about it. Had they have had those 2 extra bans, they could have allotted. Hell, they could have even banned the Jarvan if they really wanted. But again, they don't really have that option, so they kind of just have to focus up with what they're given here. They have the 3 bans. They can still ban something in the first phase. They elect to ban the Zac, and I don't think that's necessarily bad. A lot of teams struggle, especially solo queue, but a lot of teams in competitive struggle playing around Zac because of the range that he has on his E. He's basically non-existent for the first 3-4 levels, but once he has level 5, right around the 6 mark, that's when he starts. That's when he starts to come online. That elastic slingshot actually has some range, and that's where Zac players, if they know what they're doing, can really look for some good picks and ganks just from the most random places.
Yeah, I prefer Zac over Volibear by a long shot sometimes. I mean, both of them are kind of, in my opinion, are tanks that can do damage, but I feel like for most better reasons, I could say that Zac is just there for more utility. And if you're going for that dive, I prefer the Volibear, right? If you got a dive comp here, you are ready to rock. I think Volibear could be a good alternative to that. And the Zac obviously was banned by Barbarous Fanclub because they don't want any shenanigans on that front. They have, obviously, with you could see the Karma pick, really good disengage power, right? They could be running away if anything is thrown at them at that point, right? And with the Rel, you could argue that the Rel could be used as a disengage tool, but they're mostly looking for the engage part, because they have the Shyvana in the front line, and Shyvana could go really fast, like 5 screens away sometimes. It's going to be fast and explosive team fights, to say the least.
Yeah, it 100% is. When you pick the Karma, you're definitely picking it for obviously the early game priority that you're going to have. Like, the Karma shouldn't have much of a problem dealing with the Akali for the first 4 or 5 levels, so they should be able to get it. Maybe they might be able to play around the mid prio that they're going to be able to have. I don't know entirely, obviously, yet, but it's definitely a good option. And then as she scales in, she also herself brings more utility, the shields and everything that you're going to start to see. It's going to be really neat to see how she builds, whether she decides to go for the Moonstone, you know, to elect more of, like, obviously the supportive side of the build, or if she chooses to go for more AP damage, because I wouldn't say that she's the only AP, because Shyvana has a lot of AP too, but yeah, I guess it'll be interesting. So
I like the balance they have with their damage, because they're not all AD fair compared to, I mean, obviously you could say Akali is, I don't know, but I just like the way that Karma and Shyvana are going to be carrying on that front, whereas Jinx is going to be doing a lot of AD damage, Camille as well. Overall, though, what are we predicting, Turk, here before we take a short break and give the audience? I guess they started already with the picks. I see some people in the chat with predictions. I don't know if that's for the raffle. Oh, they actually did predict Spectre game. Oh yeah, look at that. One of the rare times that I look at chat is before and after the game. So I'm already seeing a lot of people with the blue team pick here.
Okay, I can appreciate that. I'm going to go the inverse way, though. I'm going to be honest. I think Spectre Gaming's draft is a lot better here. I think it's a bit more cohesive, too, and I think if that Vayne is able to get out of the lane phase, I think she's going to be a bit more impactful than the Jinx, but ultimately it's going to come down to execution, as League almost always does. So we'll really have to see. I think Game 1's going to go to Spectre Gaming, though.
Game 1 Spectre Gaming. That's a prediction here. That's a hot take. You guys heard it here first.
Yeah.
So this is BTL Season 12, Week 6, Day 7. Barbarous Fanclub versus Spectre Gaming. I'll see you guys over on the other side after this break. It's going to be our first game. Some people are predicting it's going to go the distance, and we'll just have to wait and see. Barbarous Fanclub have what it takes, even after losing 2 bans. We'll be right back.
to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn.
Hello, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are set to go the first game, and as I mentioned, my name is Proof. I'm joined here on the casting this with Turk. And Turk, you know, we actually talked a lot. We had a lot of different talking points here in the beginning. We were talking about how Karma is going to have an easier time early on compared to late. But most importantly here is the bot lane matchup.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. You even see the Jarvan actually warding towards topside, and he's pathing up towards his camp there topside, so he's going to be pathing down. Looks like action's going to be happening bot side here from at least from the red side or from the red team's point of view. So that'll be fun. We'll see how that goes. The Shyvana choosing to opt out the other way here. So blue side team's going to be pathing up towards the top, and red side team's jungle. Swag is going to be pathing down towards bot side. So pay attention to that. Again, I mentioned it once, I'll mention it at least probably 3-4 more times here. The Thresh and the Jarvan go hand in hand with each other. It's a really, really good pickup. So they're going to have a lot of utility, a lot of CC. I think kills can come. It just depends on how they're able to play around the waves. So we'll keep a close eye on bot side. I think that's where the majority of the action is going to happen for this early game. And yeah.
And you did say it's a very good combo, but why is that, right? Like, what is it that Thresh can provide here? Is it the lantern setup? Is it just the seamless transition between disengage and engage, or easy setup for these ganks?
It's definitely easy setup. A lot of it also has to do with like gap close itself. Like the Jarvan EQ alone has a ton of range, let alone adding a Thresh Lantern onto that, and then you mix in a couple flashes too. All of a sudden, when you think you're safe, you're not so safe bot side or really anywhere on the map. So those two are really good. And also, again, I mentioned it once during the draft too. It's really good just to pick the Thresh if you're going to pick the Jarvan, because the enemy team, if they played Thresh, they're more than likely going to pick it in response. So I think it's good. They work. They have good synergies, but also it's even better because they deny the pick on the other side from response. So.
All right, well, we'll just have to see how that kind of storyline transpires in the next couple of minutes, as we do see Jarvan is making his way towards the bot lane. Yep. He did not completely clear out topside jungle.
No, he did not. No, he went to head straight towards his blue. But Nukes and LC Bane did a good job. They just got that wave pushed in. You can see them moving up here. They're more than likely going to be able to spot that Jarvan on a ward that they're going to place over the wall, see where he is. This is pretty much what they expected. So they're doing a good job recognizing where he is. Now it's just their job to respect, let the wave push back to them, and then soak that XP once it gets there. So good job. They dodged what can be a gank, at least theoretically, so we'll have to see if that's, if that's actually the case.
Yeah, Swagism is on the scuttle. I think both junglers as well, like, right, the Lightful is going to end up getting this topside scuttles. So overall, scuttles are going to be traded. Junglers are not going to be having to fight against each other anytime soon here. But it's important to note that in the mid lane, gank might look spicy here for Delightful, because look at how far pushed up Learning is.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think if they opt in for that fight 2v2, though, I think they lose. I think Swag and Learning have a bit more damage, even though the Akali's just a bit weaker. I think the Jarvan's just stronger right now, especially if they're able to lock actually somebody down. I think that's why it's harder for them just to avoid and have a little bit of a trade.
Interesting trade. I don't know why they took that one in. And I like how Learning is playing. He's getting out of vision sometimes and then going back in, getting out of vision. It's kind of like putting Pixel Wolf on the edge here, not reading where Learning is going all the time. And I guess that's a good thing as a mid laner, right? Especially when Swag was around the corner, I think we saw Learning. That's why they were playing a little bit, I guess, confidently, right? Pushing up. But now it looks like they're going to set up for a gank here.
Yeah, they are. The Akali actually has a CS lead too, so if this gank goes through and it actually lands, this is going to be massive. It doesn't look like... Oh, maybe. Oh,
that's a knock-up. That's one part of the gank, right? Learning goes in with the E. They're just dancing around each other, but the root comes in through Pixel Wolf. Should be safe, and once Cataclysm is available on Swag, that could be a different look, but for now, it's only level 4 Jarvan, so it's just going to be a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario is they burn an exhaust out of Pixel, maybe even a flash, but they just don't really have, like what you said, they don't have the Cataclysm available. The Akali doesn't bring any CC yet either, and the Karma's just a pretty solid nullifying pick in the first place, so doesn't surprise me too much that that's the end result, I think. I think both teams are fine, just kind of handshaking that, farming up, looking for something else.
Well, I mean, that gave a lot of opportunity for Delightful to just,
Exactly.
you know, farm up because Shyvana just wants that level 6 anyway. So if she could just get through it and do it seamlessly as possible, then looking to be in a good spot right now. So Barber's fan club, you know, certainly there's no first blood to be had, but they are keeping up the pressure. As far as farming is concerned, they have a small lead in the jungle. They have a slight lead. I mean, if you call a 3 CS lead or 2 CS lead in the bot lane here, if anything. But things are slow, definitely slow.
That's exactly what they want. Barbara's fan club wants this exact style of game right now, and it's the exact opposite for Spectre Gaming. Now, there's nothing really too pivotal that they make anything happen, but this wave's big bot side. If they're able to deny, which it doesn't look like they can, the thinning from Jinx, they might have been able to look for a dive, but instead, we're going to see this.
Yeah, Delightful makes a roam over the top lane. Lake is now outnumbered, but throws down the Cannon Barrage to maybe to help him out there, but the problem is that's a Camille who has also level 6 as well, ult used. Now in the bot lane, you got flashes down, Hyper getting chunk low by that Ignite. Fleur gonna get away, flash down. LC Bane, good knockup. Nukes finds the kill, and that's the Jinx getting steady and ahead. You could argue that Barber's fan club were just scripting that all along as they hit the ground running.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, we talked about it. From the side of Spectre Gaming, they want to be the ones making the plays right now, not the other way around. And this is really, really, really good for Barber's fan club. You get a couple kills, not only in top side, but also bot side. I don't know. I think they're really happy with this. The Shyvana still continuing ahead on over here. Looks like he's going to be counter jungling the red, and he's going to get that too from what it looks like. So everything going to plan from the side of Barber's fan club. It's exactly what they're hoping for.
Yeah, they pull off a successful gank. They also pull off a successful 2v2 out of thin air, right? That's usually hard to do, especially in the bot lane, if you're against Floor, who is really, really good at peeling, right, with the flay. So that's kind of alarming if you are a fan of Spectre.
Pay attention to Delightful right now. He's pathing up here. Blake has to get this wave pushed in. Yep.
Lake just gonna burn the flash out of gate, and you see Patrick Jones just looking for that. There it is. Does find it. One secured in the back. Two kills for the Camille and 2 deaths for Lake. This is the pressure.
Yeah, they played that really well. Both of those kills that they got at the GP, he was just trying to get his weight pushed in. It built up so big. He was just trying to get it reset. Just get it into the turret. You know it's going to come back to you, and once you do that, you're home free. You just couldn't get there in the first place.
Yeah, you couldn't get there in the first place. Patrick Jones as an adversary here. It's going to be Swag, but Swag, you know, has a Cataclysm. Patrick Jones is going to have Hextech Ultimatum shortly here as well. It's 8 minutes so far on the clock, and Spectre Gaming are not out of this one just yet, obviously. They have a couple of late scaling champions on their side they could rely on this Gangplank. They could rely on this Vayne later on, but they need to be in better position, especially early on, because they don't want to have this game slip out of their hands.
That's right. And again, when you draft the Jarvan, the terminology tends to be a bridge. So like Jarvan wants to be able to take his early game leads that he has and be able to translate that for his late game carries for the Akali, for the GP, and for the Vayne. And that's really his goal. So if he's able to set these kills up, hopefully he can find a couple ganks that maybe can work. And ideally his carries get those kills. They're going to be looking a lot better. But right now, nothing too much has come from this. It's just really been Barber's fan club kind of opening off with it was really a bit of a banging start, I guess.
Yeah, a banging start indeed it has been, and I mean I'm loving it. I got excited for the Jinx, right? We got excited for Barber's fan club, and we were building up the narrative to say that they have lost 2 bans, but they look really, really good this game. You know, mid lane, yes, you're not out CSing the Akali by any means, but Karma hasn't died a single time, has that exhaust, and we saw Swag setting up for a potential gank. It did not go the way they wanted to go, and we haven't seen Swag make a play after that.
No, we haven't. Learning like what you mentioned with the Akali, he's definitely happy. He's basically got what? Let me do math here. 30 CS. That's a 30 CS lead. So that's crazy to be able to get that just coming up to the 10-minute mark. I mean, as long as they just keep scaling, I think learning's going to be one of the big impacts here from the side of Spectre Gaming. We'll have to keep an eye out on that Akali. Again, they do have the Camille lockdown. They have a lot of options to be able to catch whoever they want, as we have a bit of a fight.
Okay, but Delightful actually securing the early rift, learning now under a lot of fire, but Lake is here for the reinforcement, Swag for the gank, and Pixel Wolf is taking the full brunt of that. 2 people in the Cataclysm, nicely done, good setup, and yes, this is their team comp from fully online, the perfect execution as well. Learning has found a beautiful ultimate here, but Delightful has found the trade indeed. And back and forth tit for that. He could keep going. Lake has a corrupting potion as well as the W to heal back up. Mega Death Rocket was so far away, not hitting the mark there. But at least they don't lose too many players. That was a 2-for-1 nonetheless, right? For Barbarous Fanclub, and they get the Rift.
Exactly. So at least they get the Rift. It's not entirely botched. They're okay. They can walk away. Look to maybe throw this down towards bot side. They've already got a couple plays down on that turret. You can already see Delightful starting to path that direction. That's my guess. That's where they're going to put it. But we've got Nukes and Bane. It looks like they're going to be resetting. So looks like going to be a bit of a delay on that Herald drop, but I still expect it to be going bot.
Yeah, why is that? You prefer bot Rift Herald drop here versus mid?
I mean, ideally, you always want to be able to grab mid, but at the end of the day, you don't have any of the plates down on that mid turret. So if you want to get first turret, you want to get first brick, your best bet to do that is just bot side. And then if you do that, you can rotate your bot to mid, or you can really send them anywhere after that. So I say always, if you can, it's mid, but in this case, the cards just aren't really lined up like that.
Maybe we can even see if they're going to play it around Drake timers, right? When it's going to get spawned pretty soon here. Maybe they could drop it for distraction. You see already Delightful, like as you said, making that play happen, making... or the possibility we're going to see that Rift Herald drop here. And yes, we will for the bot lane. It's going to be first turret down, hopefully, right,
maybe,
for Barbarous Fanclub. It's a maybe, but at least they play textbook League of Legends. They drop it around Hexgate, Drake, spawn time, which... That's when you want to see it.
Exactly what you said.
Yeah, more prio, more prio.
That's right. That's exactly it. We have a bit of a contest here. We'll see. Looks like it's going to go down.
Oh, but that is a beautiful... We're talking about the alties. Press R to win comp. Here comes Spectre Gaming fully online. That's the Vayne getting free-ranging autos, but she's not going to have that peel anymore because her friends are dying here on the Rift. Delightful's doing a lot of damage now. Pixel Wolf helping her in that advance, but Hyper... finding a lot of good autos here. Maybe could turn this one around. Decisive is there, but Delightful will finish the job off with a triple kill. And this is Barbarous Fanclub. Looking really phenomenal so far. Under that 14-minute mark, we're going to see the plays fall off shortly here.
Yeah, and the Shyvana just outscales the Jarvan now. I think 100%. He's also 30 CS up on top of 4 kills, 400 gold bounty, secured that dragon. Yeah, I think the Shyvana's in a really good spot. I think if you're the side of Spectre Gaming, you got to be looking to... I guess you can't really cross-map at this point, but come the next objective, you really got to decide if it's worth contesting. But the clock's ticking. They don't have as much agency as they were hoping to have in this early game. They just need to kind of wait for their solos at this point to scale up a bit more. The really good news from the side of Spectre Gaming is that Learning got a few kills. He's now 3-1. 95 CS.
Out of all the champions, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No, I have not seen a more kill-hungry champion than the Akali. Like, Akali could just do so much given the resources, right? And maybe there's that snowball factor as well because they just went Darksteel. So we'll see how many stacks they get on that. Obviously... maybe a bit too late to go Magi's, but that's still up in the air. Decision-making time, crunch time for Learning. Ideally, though, you'd want to see Learning have the torch for the team, kind of put Spectre Gaming back on the map.
Yeah, and I think he kind of realizes that he needs to be able to do that. He's one of the only ones who's in a position to be able to actually do really much of anything. We'll have to see what they're able to do here. I like this a lot.
Okay, we got pressure building up. Spectre Gaming want to double down on this top lane where they are overextending and they have the members who do damage. We talked about Learning. He picks up the double kill. He has teams 90% of the kills. With that said, Fleur in the mid lane goes golden now. Hyper trying to maybe protect. Actually does not even bother with helping out there. Just CSing on the way back. But so much damage coming out from Delightful. Again, this is a 4-4 Shyvana. Right, we talked about the AP damage. We talked about the agency this player has. Now, walk me through what we're going to be able to see unfold in the next couple of minutes from Barbarous Fanclub.
Oh, Barbarous Fanclub. Well, again, another couple kills went on the Akali side. It's always interesting. There's so many things. The league is always ebb and flow. They just finished their Moonstone Renewer on the Karma. So Karma is, technically speaking, spiking for the build, and we were curious to see how she would build, whether she would go the AP or whether she would opt in for the support build.
Yeah. So
she chose to do that. The Shyvana looks like she has enough magic damage in herself. Like, I was surprised how much that E she ended up just kind of spitting out there did. So,
Yeah,
so I mean, maybe the
she's
Shyvana has enough with the 4-0-4 scoreline that she has, and then again that bounty. It doesn't surprise me that she's doing that damage. It's just surprising that it's 15 minutes in and that's what she's doing. So,
Oh, speaking of that, talk about walking right into the death trap. Death sentence is served for Bane. Bane needs to walk out of that one alive. It's not going to happen. Not today. Learning is on a killing spree. The 6th kill for the Sakala. We're talking about the agency they're going to provide, and 6 stacks on the Dark Seal.
yeah, 6 stacks. We were talking about buying it late, and then you come out with 6 stacks a minute and a half later. So I guess it wasn't too late after all. She's got the 6 stacks. She's going to be pretty happy with that. Looking to ramp up, get a couple more, obviously. So really, really good. They're going to pressure her instead. Barbara's Fanclub is going to head towards this mid turret. Looks like they're going to grab it for their troubles too. So this is always, again, the best turret to be able to grab when it comes to the early mid game. Now it forces Spectre Gaming to respect, kind of sweep that middle of the lane to see if Barbara's Fanclub does happen to place any cheeky wards in the mid lane. Something that they really have to pay attention to now, and it definitely gives more options for Barbara's Fanclub. Just a little thing to take note of. The Rift is up, but it looks like both teams are posturing towards the Dragon here, and again, that doesn't surprise me too much either. We'll see if he's picked out, though.
I think Delightful was surprised to see enemies there. Swag. Oh, that's a beautiful Death Sentence. Does land with the box and the flay. This is a wombo combo that's going to be too hard for Delightful to get out, but the smiting, the Scuttle will re-heal some of that missing HP, and now you got the Karma Shield, the Karma movement speed as well, to just be able to walk out of that one without dying, which is huge because Jinx over the top side picked up a turret for them. Meanwhile, everything else was happening here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Delightful buys all the time that he needs. He's able to get out and not expend the ult, so he still has that available. I mean, you can't really complain too much about that. You're still pressuring topside as well. They haven't decided to back. Instead, they've opted in just to be able to push this tier 2, and that's going to force a response from the GP, who does have the R, who does have the TP, so we'll see what they do in response. But again, Barbara's Fanclub is the one on the offensive, forcing Spectre Gaming to respond.
I like what Lake did here. Just walked up to clear the way, but he's going to get engaged on. That's a flash down Bane. They have the target on Lake's back. They want to find that target, but it's going to be a bit too late. They don't have everything they have. Just lack a little bit more damage on Nukes. He's not there yet. But with that said, that's a Drake down. Spectre Gaming at least have some silver lining, some hopes of retaining back their lead in this game. They got the 2nd Drake total, so they are angling Soul Point here.
Yeah, they are. They're just one dragon away from being able to grab that. So when that time comes, obviously it's going to force Barbara's Fanclub to consider playing around that or opt in. I guess at this point in time, they can choose to contest the Baron. With the Shyvana damage, they might have enough, so maybe they cross-map that. But it's definitely something that's on their mind. We'll see exactly how they choose to respond to that. But yeah, that's some additional pressure from the side of Spectre Gaming. We'll just pay close attention, and I think more importantly right now, we're just going to want to see exactly what Delightful's able to do with this lead that he's built up. Again, the 4-0-4 scoreline is just way too good right now for Shyvana. He's ramping up. He's already got, looks like, the Demonic Embrace, and he's already got the Frostfire Gauntlet. So those 2 items should be enough to spike, and it looks like he's opting in for the Fiendish Codex. Is he going towards Azania's 3rd? Not entirely sure, but regardless, he's going to be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, on top of having the Rift Herald, right, the 2nd one for them. I don't know who got the 1st one. I have short-term memory, but it's all good. But Delightful, maybe he's going to find a kill. Maybe, but Lake is just too fast for him right now with the barrels and that extra movement speed that Gangplank has. And the laning phase is pretty much over, right, Turk? And now we need to talk about the side laning threat that Camille has been building up, and as well as Lake over the top side. They both have TPs to collapse in teamfights any given moment, as we see maybe a teamfight about to happen here, or an ugly skirmish that we might not want to see coming out just yet.
Maybe it's just a friendly dance proof. I think that's maybe what it is.
Yeah, friendly dance when they stepping on your toes during the waltz.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, you're right. We've moved into mid-game now. So really what it comes down to is lane assignments, where you choose to put your bot lane, which usually around this time is best just to leave the mid. Both teams kind of recognize that. The Thresh wants to be mid lane anyways. That way he can offer the most utility to his team. He can be, generally speaking, wherever he needs to be. So this doesn't surprise me. They do have the 2nd Rift Herald, and while I'm not a huge fan of the 2nd Rift Herald, there still has a lot of advantages to it. One of them being this, of course. You can still pressure tier 2s, tier 3s if they're down. So it's really good. They're not going to obviously get any plates. We're way past that point, but instead we're going to get a fight.
pressure more than just the rift and the turret. Here we go. There's a bloody fight happening, but Learning is now in the middle of it. Double kill gone to ADHD Delightful. He is on a roll. Learning is trying to get away now under a lot of fire. He's going to be subject to punishment. Goes Zonia's in the last minute though. Oh, they're turning it around. The double kill, just buying enough time for the Akali. And Hyper trying to find the damage, looking good for a little bit, but now being outnumbered. Delightful is just breathing the fire right in his face. Almost getting that kill, Hyper, but the double kill comes from above. Delightful is running the game. And Barber's fan club are going to find the ace here, almost a disconnected ace. But still, that's 4 kills, 5 kills down. Only lose 2 in advance.
Yeah, we've got a little mini game going on between Learning, the 8-2 Akali, and then Delightful, the 8-0 Shyvana. So we'll see who's able to carry a bit more or carry a bit harder. Obviously, right now we've got Delightful looking like he's winning out that battle. But come the 20-minute mark, we've mentioned it here already. Baron is going to be on the table now, so we're going to be paying attention to how both teams choose to prioritize and get the vision around this objective. I think Delightful and the side of really just the blue team in general are in the driver's seat when it comes to this right now. I think they're more than happy to just stall the game out as long as they need, and have another little fight here. Look at that.
Yeah, that's you can't really damage Delightful at this point in time. He's the boss. There's only one king or queen in this game.
Jarvan missed his train, it looks like.
Yeah.
I think the ticket's gone. Yep, at this point. He still has a Cataclysm, so he can still be useful, but he's utility now. That's what his job is. He's there to try to lock down somebody who doesn't have a flash, and luckily for him, Nukes is one of those people. Delightful, if Delightful doesn't have the R. Exactly, if Delightful doesn't have the R up, he has Ghost, so that's another option that they have. But yeah, if you're the Jarvan right now, you're feeling a little down bad. Delightful's more than happy, just again, like what I said, just to kind of stall this game out. I don't think... I mean, both teams scale well. There's no doubt about that. It's just the amount of tempo that Barber's fan club has right now on the map seems like a bit too much.
That is true. That is true entirely. I have to say, yeah, like it's gonna come down to tempo. But then again, if we're gonna look at tempo, we should also acknowledge that Spectre Gaming do have back-to-back Drakes here. Maybe they can angle a third one here for that soul point if they do manage to steal that one away. Like you said, Swagism is probably gonna be down right now, playing like this on the Jarvan. But maybe he could go for these steals. Maybe he could make heroic plays happen. But I feel like for now, they're just gonna stick to the plan. Maybe punish Nukes here because they don't have the flash. They need the Jarvan up. They don't want to die too early yet just for a 50-50 smite fight.
And they don't have to opt in. They don't have to just YOLO that fight for the soul point by any means. Instead, they just opt in to clear out their side waves, get a little bit extra gold. But, I mean, look what we have here. Maybe... I actually expect them to start this and then peel off. They have a lot of damage for it, and that's exactly what they're doing.
I think they spotted Learning in the bot side. Like, they know that Akali was pushing the wave, so this is a very good opportunity. That's a damage dealer who's going to be coming from long ways the other side. And here we go, Cannon Barrage setting up for this play. This is out of desperation. They need to make something happen, and it needs to be now. Swagsm goes in for the 50-50. Does not happen. Lantern on the way out, but Shyvana follows him up. He's looking at a 1v5 angle. No, not like this level. You might go down a bit too early, but goes golden, and Nukes finds the kill from the backline. Learning goes in. Speaking of the backline, he is in the middle. Literally 4 or 5 players. They're all going to collapse on him. Learning going to pop the Zonias to stay a bit more alive, but... everybody's looking like a corpse right now on the side of Spectre Gaming. They are losing integral parts, and Lake almost going to bite the dust. Indeed, will go down at the end of the day. Double kill, the triple kill from Patrick Jones. Fully online on the Camille, and we talked about the Camille Hextech Ultimatum and the follow-ups. They got to engage, they got to disengage. Barber's fan club looking to end the game.
This could be game-proof, 100%. They've got a 3-second death timer on Swag. We'll have to see if he's able to do anything here, but I think this game's done.
It's done and dusted here.
Yeah, the onus is on Barber's fan club, I think, to kind of give this one up. I think they close out.
Yeah, Patrick Jones going to have the Hextech Ultimatum shortly here, but maybe it's not enough to end the game. I don't know, but Floor throws out the last hurrah, and here comes Delightful. Base fight. You can see the HP bars are getting down faster than you could blink, and that's game 1 in the books. Barber's fan club do walk away out of this one on top, and well-deserved victory.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Delightful buying so much time in that team fight, too. I'm surprised. I think he ended up tanking 4 members for more than 5 seconds easily, then popping the Zonias, buying an additional few seconds. So yeah, he's sitting there hanging tight, 1v4 by himself for at least 8-10 seconds in that team fight, then able to pick up a couple kills at the end there too. So I mean, that's a great close from the side of Barbara's fan club. And of course, as many casters are, I completely caster cursed and I got the wrong prediction. But that's funny. I mean, they played their comp to a T. They really needed Delightful to get ahead, and he was able to do that. And they really, really punished just through the jungle alone. I mean, you still got 6 kills, or excuse me, you still got 5 kills on Patrick Jones for the Camille, still making a ton of impact with the lockdown. You even saw towards the Baron fight with Learning dashing in, trying to get the kills on as many members as possible, but he just gets Hextech ultimatum. That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. He just gets
GG,
he
no
just
rate.
hard and can't get out. So
yeah,
really good execution from the side of Barbara's fan club. Yep. Absolutely.
Despite losing the 2 bans, right? That was what we were angling here. Are they gonna hold up
they don't need him,
Spectre?
They don't
apparently they don't need him. Apparently they don't need him. Hey, who knew you could lose 2 bans and still come out on top in that fashion? Great job to Barbara's fan club. And now we're getting ready to go into the second game. The second game might be even more interesting than the first one. Who knows? Spectre Gaming have to answer us in this game, or else they're gonna walk out of this one with 0-2. Spectre Gaming, do you want that? Because they're just angling this to be a game, a series that goes the full distance, and I actually want to see that as well. But Barbara's fan club, you have another shot to close this one in clean sweep fashion, and the same is true for Spectre Gaming. Can they win the second one here? We'll see what side they're going to end up picking. With that said, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with the second game on the docket.